A Pacific farewell to an Australian soldier. Private Jamie Clark was killed in March, falling into a cave while searching for a weapon stash. The second Australian death in 3 months. For Australians, the Solomon Islands has become a deadlier mission than Iraq, and it's likely to be a much longer one.
Jamie was part of the contingent that did deploy in the wake of the tragic shooting of Australian Federal Police Protective Service officer Adam Dunning.
The calculated murder of policeman Adam Dunning in December, long after armed confrontation had ended, changed the tone of the mission here and the threat assessment of placing an army of Australian police, soldiers and public servants in the middle of a Melanesian land dispute. I'm standing on the island of Guadalcanal in the national capital, Honiara. Among the islands out here is Malaita. Also out here are 42 Japanese and American battleships. This was a major battleground of World War II. And in some ways, the problems of today stem from that period. The Americans brought thousands of Malaitans here to help build their military bases. Those bases eventually turned into a city, and the Malaitans stayed. The hard-working Malaitans did well and prospered, dominating business on Guadalcanal, in Honiara and beyond. An arrangement that lasted until the late 1990s. It was then that the troubled Guadalcanal leader Harold Keke emerged.
We know about a reality, a root cause of ethnic tension in this island.
Under Keke and others, Guadalcanal militants tried to drive the Malaitans off the island, attacking them, burning down their houses. Many were killed, 20,000 became refugees. In response, the Malaitans armed themselves, formed the Malaitan Eagle Force militia, launched a coup and fought back with brutal efficiency, with the backing of a weak and corrupt government. The militias ultimately turned on the government, and the country was out of control when Prime Minister Sir Alan Kemakeza asked Australia to intervene. It's a very rare thing for any government to do, to ask for another country to come in and intervene to the extent that has occurred in the Solomon Islands. Was that a difficult decision, or did you have no other choice?
I have no other choice. The country was in a total disorder. They kidnapped my brother. They burned down my properties. They shot me here at my residence, 7 bullets. That's a risk I have taken during those difficult times.
The real losers through the events of recent years are here on the island of Malaita. Although many are still hanging on in and around Honiara, thousands of ordinary people here lost their homes and the lives they'd built on Guadalcanal, with virtually no chance of getting them back.
You were chased off? Yeah? Were you on a garden or farm, or what were you on?
Yeah, we were just farmers.
Farmers?
West side of Guadalcanal.
And did you lose your house, or you
lose your house?
You lost your house?
Yeah.
No money for this one?
No money. No, I'm loose. Everything loose.
In Asa 66.
Australia's intervention through Operation Ramsey compounded the Malaitans' loss. Many of their militia leaders may have been dangerous criminals, but they ruled the government and, in some places, secured Malaitan interests against Guadalcanal land claims.
We come short of the glory of God.
Today, a simmering resentment for Ramsey is more easily found amongst Malaitans.
No respect. No respect na, so we want to feel good look at our Ramses.
Criminals, or all the Malaitan men are criminals, yeah?
Treating me for everyone no criminal.
Yeah.
So him no mas good too. Osem we feel a little bit complain lo him, but no manner. Use all time lot of operate.
Views on Ramsey are mixed, but if there's one view shared by ordinary people, it's a distrust of and distaste for their own politicians, who many blame as the cause of the killing and chaos.
They're not straight.
Then end up other local people were out for doing something or stand behind other. Or more end up low sell or trouble.
James Batley, the head of Ramsey, inherited the government that many view as the source of the crimes and turmoil that occurred here.
Well, we work closely with the government. Ramsey came here to Solomon's at the invitation of the government. So they are our partners in this whole enterprise.
But you're arresting a lot of them.
Well, we've arrested a few ministers, that's right.
In the past 6 months, Ramsey has arrested 4 government ministers and prominent Malaitan leaders and businessmen on corruption or murder charges. More arrests are rumoured, and it would seem that this could be the most dangerous phase. A danger highlighted by the killing in December of Australian policeman Adam Dunning, a killing that occurred long after the militias were disbanded. This suburb is on the edges of Honiara, and it's regarded by police as one of the rougher parts of town. It was along this road that Adam Dunning was driving in the early hours of December 23. His killers were lying in the grass ahead, knowing that he'd slow down to a virtual stop on the next sharp bend. Dunning was fired upon by a group with military-style weapons. It was well planned and they were well armed. Anything but a random act. This valley is one of the fault lines of conflict in the Solomons. It's where the fighting first began in the late 90s.
Steeper?
The road is steep.
It's still a Malaitan stronghold and still a flashpoint for Guadalcanal activists who claim this land is theirs.
You enter Fulisano village.
Fumasama village.
It's where Adam Dunning was shot and where one of his alleged killers, John O'May, lived together with his wife, Doris.
Green Valley on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
When he came home, we watched Home and Away, 8 o'clock.
Doris O'May believes her husband, now in Rovay prison, is innocent. She also believes she speaks for many in this suburb when she explains why Ramsey and the Australians aren't popular here, that Malaitan militants believed they would be given an amnesty if they surrendered.
Yeah, because they say, why they told us lie?
Yeah.
They say, because they say amnesty.
Yes.
Yes. I heard John him say, why they say amnesty, then they come and arrest us.
There are other reasons why people here might resent Australians. Stories abound about harsh Australian police tactics.
And when I was heard that word out from the Ramsey officer's mouth, yeah, when I was locked in that container, that my full suspect is that they want to kill me. Yeah.
But no one, on or off camera, see these incidents as serious enough to have provoked an attack on Dunning. Most believe some other agenda was at play. In the background of all Australian activities here is the death of Adam Dunning, a murder which has been made even murkier by the man I'm about to meet, and like most meetings here, to be held far out of the public eye. Elton Canassi is in hiding. He's already been beaten up once and his life threatened for information he's made public. He was a member of the Malaitan Eagle Force and a friend of and bodyguard to the Prime Minister. Last year he revealed a plot to attack Australians, a plan he says was orchestrated by a minister in the Kemakeza government.
In the evening, a government minister was talking to the boys about if they can do they can attack Ramsey officers doing bullying in the Honiara outskirts. And that boy came and told me that about
Why did this minister want to have Ramsey attacked?
I think because the minister he was involving very much during the ethnic tension with the militants. He must be worried about maybe the police is catching up on him, something like that.
And to scare the Australians away, or to scare Ramsey away, or something like this?
Yeah, to scare Ramsey away.
This was the minister telling these...
Elton was approached to join the attack. His account of 2 meetings he claims occurred at the minister's house is second-hand. Relayed to him, he says, by close associates who were there.
And he told the boys that the government was agreed to facilitate any operations the boys will carry out.
So he was saying, that not just him, that the government had agreed that they should create trouble for Ramsey.
The minister told the boys.
That he'd spoken to the government,
He's spoken to the government, other ministers, and they agree to facilitate if the boys are willing to attack Ramsey officers. Yeah.
Elton Canassi may have scores to settle. Like many people, he resents seeing militiamen in jail while the so-called big fish are still free.
Stealing killing crimes, using the boys, asking the boys to kill people for political reasons. Yeah. And some of the boys who are in the prison custody now, they are just used up by those politicians.
Whatever his motives, Canassi is not seeking any money, nor can anyone claim he's made up a story after the death of Dunning. He wrote key elements of it in a remarkable letter to the local paper well before the shooting.
Prime Minister Alan Kemkesa, I am always guilty of my conscience for my involvement with you in the last years, and now I made up my mind.
It was no surprise to Elton when Dunning was killed.
Ramsey, don't wait until it's too late to catch the big fish.
Nor was he surprised that the second Australian to die was searching for a weapons stash in the same area, weapons that were supposedly all collected 18 months before.
So this was the minister saying he was going to give them guns?
He was going to give them guns, and he said 11 guns. He already got 11 guns. The minister told the boys, I got 11 guns, yeah? And I think that was from his group, the government group. Say they got 11 guns to give the boys. Yeah.
Well, I believe you're familiar with Elton Canassi's claims that the militants were being encouraged to attack Australians. Have his claims been investigated?
Yeah, he's written to me, and I've referred that letter to the police. And he has said to me that he's concerned for his own safety. And again, I've said that if he does have concerns for his own safety, that he should speak to the police as a matter of urgency.
The police aren't saying what they make of Canassi's account. But there is enough evidence to make Ramsey wary about the company that some government ministers are keeping. John O'May may be a loving father and husband, but the Dunning killing is the second murder charge he's facing. He'll also be on trial for the murder of a Guadalcanal leader, shot, but it seems not killed, then bound and driven off a cliff. O'May and another former Eagle Force militiaman charged with the Dunning shooting were also very close associates of a serving minister.
They stay with him every day, they drive his vehicle, and they drink beer together.
They drive his car, they socialise with him.
Yeah.
They're tough guys, yeah? They're tough guys for the minister. Is that the deal?
The minister used to space for all times as his security.
And these are the guys that have been arrested for the killing of
those guys. They arrested for the killing, but I don't know if they did it or no. But they got arrested.
Does it disturb you that one of your ministers has a very close association with one of the men that's been charged with killing Adam Dunning?
That is what I heard from other people, that a house was searched, my minister's house was searched because of this relationship with the other suspect. I'm sorry about that. If that happens, perhaps of his involvement or not, I'm not sure.
The Australians may be having to deal with some unpalatable members of the government, but it's a government on a very short string. The Australian takeover of the Solomons has been comprehensive. Like other arms of government, the Solomon Islands police force don't get much of a look in beyond the most basic of duties. Ramsey is a regional force, but it has become overwhelmingly Australian. Nothing happens here in policing, justice, finance or the public service that isn't controlled by Australian officials. No one wants to mention the colony word, but Australia has effectively adopted a country. And there's little room in or out of Parliament for anyone to challenge that arrangement. I'm off to visit Francis Zama. Until a few weeks ago, he was Finance Minister here, one of the most important members of the government, until he presented this report to Parliament, fairly mildly criticising Ramsey and Australia. 2 days later, he was sacked.
Yeah. Well, this is the Parliament chambers.
Yeah.
This side of the house is the government, and this is where I sat.
To Francis Zama, Parliament House seemed the appropriate forum to raise issues of sovereignty. He believed Ramsey tactics were overkill and a liability, but he doubts anyone else will say that again.
It wasn't well received, and that resulted in my being removed.
You're kicked out from that. It's all overkill and a liability.
For this country.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
It was heavy-handed in one sense, and I think liability in the sense that it has economic, social, and cultural effects.
Essentially, Australians are trying to control too much here, more than is
That's
needed.
right.
You think?
That's right.
And why do you think they want to do that? This is the key question.
Well, it's going to be quite difficult to say just exactly, but if you really look at that, I think because Australia's got its security interest in the Pacific, and with all the fear of Al-Qaeda terrorism and all that, and I think they seem to want to control this place so that nothing gets to Australia.
Did you have any discussions with Australian officials about those dismissals?
No. 98% of the population still like Ramsey to be in the country. We are representing these people, but if we think otherwise, then something is wrong.
While some may challenge the generosity of the PM's arithmetic, few would doubt the general sentiment. With some dangerous exceptions, Ramsey is very popular throughout the Solomons. Why wouldn't it be? The rule of Australian James Batley delivers not just peace, but goods and services. Here on the remote weather coast on the southern side of Guadalcanal, a government visit or government largesse used to be a rare event, even before the fighting that tore this region apart.
Well, we're going towards Kalina Primary School, which this is one of the areas where which was badly affected by the violence in what Solomon Islanders call the tension times.
When Australia was planning on deploying in 2003, it was this stretch of coast that they feared the most.
Here we are, we're just going to walk there.
Crossing through the heart of Harold KK territory.
I expect to be very much welcomed here.
It's a good-natured display today, but the warlords that ruled here didn't ask for the intervention. This village was on the dividing line between KK supporters and government militias. The area was decimated. In the end, the people here were fighting each other, not the Malaitans. Villages destroyed, people killed. Most people fled and hid in the hills for years.
Opening today.
The children attending this school opening missed up to 4 years of their education.
And now peace. Without peace, there might not any development here. No development, no education. If no any education, bye okata ini berimi, bye okata stop long darkness.
Amongst the festivities, it's hard to imagine that these people were butchering each other a short time ago. Today, surrounded by Ramsey officials, no one talks of revenge or of much else for that matter.
So can you live together now? Can you get on now or not so much?
No, sorry.
And it seems no one ever supported Harold KK and his causes.
What did you think of him before? Because some people support, some people not support him.
Before, when I'm not him, time before him go to prison, you supporting him or you not supporting him?
I mean, before him go, yeah? Me not supporting him.
This man felt a bit guilt-ridden he couldn't speak to me openly. A few days later, he was to take a 6-hour boat trip to find me in Honiara. We met in a quiet park behind WWII prison, where KK and hundreds of other militants are being held.
Why me supporting KK? Because me fella work together and me fella fight for this fella island against the people of Malaita.
Like many other Guadalcanal militants, Graham ultimately changed sides and joined the equally vicious pro-government militia.
Do you have trouble with KK's boys when you...
He knows that there are still scores to be settled on both sides.
Now, but I fully support Harold, and from Colin and Pikewood, people were joining Operation Police.
Our interview comes to a halt when one of KK's commanders happens to walk by, Stanley Joash.
I'm right now.
Stanley? Hi. I'm Mark from Australian television, SBS TV. I'd love to talk.
Stanley didn't resist Ramsey's arrival, but he makes no apologies for the blood shed during KK's uprising.
KK and his boys, they murdered a lot of people on the weather coast, and the houses burnt. And
yeah, that one, me military, I'm all about military, and military I can kill anybody, and I'm say kill him because I have no problem. What is a military? Then military I'm do him. So that's the way.
Everything is fair in war, and for Stanley, the battle to get back all Guadalcanal land is still not over.
Then we will like him pull land, we will must restore. I'm not understand we will fight for him. This aim what we will fight for him. So land we must come back law right Pulona.
But not now.
But not now.
When Ramsey goes or something.
Yeah, it might be.
No one knows how long Ramsey will stay here, but most believe it will be at least 10 years. Australia will be extremely lucky if the core tensions here don't explode before then.